Okay, I'll call this June 16th meeting of the Personnel and Human Services Committee to order. Deanne, will you call roll, please?
Lutz.
Here.
Kelly.
Here.
Rancic.
Here.
Gibb.
Here.
Luna.
Here.
Garrett.
Here.
Krieger.
Yes.
One present.
Thank you. Before, you had an opportunity to read the minutes of May 19th. What is your pleasure?
Move to receive.
Support. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. At this time, we have public input. Those wishing to come before the committee can step to the podium and address the committee. I see they're flocking. Seeing none, then we'll move on to petitions and communications. Under A, we have from the Director of Division on Aging, we have the Senior Community Service Employment Program Worksite Agreement, Title V. What is your pleasure?
So moved. Support.
We have a motion and support. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under item 2, we have memorandum of agreement with Medicare, Medicaid Assistance Program. What is your pleasure?
So moved. Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under item B, we have Bay County Sheriff Asset Recovery Management Services Contract.
So moved. Support.
We have motion and support. Is there any discussion?
We should refer that to finance first, shouldn't we? Or is that going right to purchasing?
You want to go and take it to Ways and Means?
Wait a minute. But I think finance indicated they wanted to review it.
Mr. Chair, thank you.
Yes.
We're really busy with the audit right now, to try to issue it under 22nd, so we haven't had time to meet with the Sheriff's Department and discuss some of the logistics of it, but we should be able to have that, in Corporation Council, we could have a little internal meeting and we should be able to have that resolved by the Ways and Means.
Motion to refer to Ways and Means.
Okay.
Support.
So moved.
It's okay. We have that. A motion to refer to Ways and Means and support. Any further discussion? Thanks, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have 2 items under, I guess we go with referrals. We don't have any of those. We don't have any unfinished business. Under new business, we have 2 items. One, you have a personnel issue from Personnel and Human Services Committee coming before us from Tammy Rose, that submitted a request to fill a position within the Division on Aging. It's a kitchen aid.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. There you go, Tammy. And then we have another item that's before you from Amber Johnson about the Bay County Corporation Council. They're requesting that, or Amber's requesting that we go ahead and do a study that was done, or a similar study that was done in 2009 to verify the workload and requirements of that department.
So moved. Support.
Motion and support. Discussion?
Can we get a brief description on why you're doing this?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. I received in my office a letter from the county clerk indicating that she was making a formal request for the approval of retention of outside counsel due to the fact that she wanted to explore the possibility of potentially bringing a cause of action against the County Board of Commissioners for insufficiently funding her department such that she could not perform the constitutionally mandated duties of her office. Pursuant to Civil Council guidelines, it's my responsibility, if that request is made, to make a determination as to whether or not it's a reasonable request, whether or not there's any merit to the request itself. And what would really be helpful to me in making that determination is an independent audit of her department to make a determination as to whether or not she's adequately staffed in order to provide those constitutionally mandated services.
Did we not have a audit done at one time, or a study done at one time a few years back?
We did have a study done in 2000. It was approved in 2009 and it was conducted in early 2010. Since that point in time, there have been some significant changes to the department. She has lost one full-time staff member. Some of her obligations and responsibilities as county clerk have changed over those years. The gun board would be, the concealed weapons permits gun board would be one of those changes in her responsibilities. Also, at this point in time, with 2015 as opposed to 2010, I can't give you with any particular set of confidence numbers in terms of what the workflow is, what the requests are into the department. And she's also recently instituted a computerized program through Vital Check that allows individuals to order copies of vital records online via credit card through Vital Check as opposed to coming into her office. That may offset some of the necessity for an actual live person in the office, so it could have basically evened out the need of losing that other employee. It's just really impossible for me to tell without somebody coming in and giving an analysis of the work processes in flow.
Now, was that position eliminated based upon the prior study?
The elimination, no, it was not done in, I don't believe, in direct response to the prior study. It was done as an overall budget adjustment, from what I can tell from the records. I wasn't here at the time. Historically, looking at the documentation, one position was reduced from that office during that budget, and I believe another position was either a part-time or a full-time position was also reduced from the Register of Deeds at that point in time.
So if the board is going to be sued by any elected official, and I don't think we've ever been sued by anybody, have we?
There have been suits that were brought by the courts. That was back in the 70s, and I believe there were also suits in the early 90s with regards to the county executive position.
Okay, what, not in recent memory.
Not in recent memory that I'm aware of.
So this is the process that we need to go through in order to determine whether or not we're going to finance that request.
That's correct.
Okay.
Commissioner, are you done?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Just asking, because Commissioner Tilly wants to.
Amber, just a point of information in regards to funding to the clerk's office. Prior to Cindy taking office, was it Albertson? Was that the clerk before? Tober. Monies were given to Tober to conduct elections that were above and beyond the salary of the clerk's office that were used. They were used to then conduct elections. When the current clerk took office, those monies were she then went out and hired outside people to do the work that she was being compensated to do. So we have an additional cost coming out of the clerk's office while she's keeping the money in her paycheck. We're actually now paying for outside people to do the work that she was supposed to do under her original contract or her agreement with the electorate. So keep that in mind when you're marching forward with this, when you're talking about what she's talking about being underfunded in her department for staffing, but she's actually got an accident and there's an allotment of money. I don't know what those dollars are offhand, but she has an allotment of monies that are supposed to be going to the elections and are being used that she is keeping for personal income.
Okay, and we will ensure that whoever is hired to do the study is aware of that fact.
Okay.
They will, in addition to meeting with the clerk's office, in addition to my office meeting with the clerk's office, they'll also be meeting with finance to get basically a better indication of what money is going into that office, how it's being spent, who it's being spent for, and that will include any additional staff that has been provided to the clerk's office to cover vacations, sick leave, additional staff that's provided during election periods when she has that additional need.
Anyone else? Mike, you had brought up about people coming from Pinconning during their lunch hour.
Right, and having to wait, until they reopen, and even sometimes close late in the afternoon, maybe to take care of the board meeting here or whatever. So I get, once every 6 weeks or so, I get a call.
Yeah, and I know I've come up here to try to do things around noon too, and the place has been closed, so.
A lot of people that are working, they try to get as much done during their lunch hour as they can.
Right. So that should be a consideration, during this study that, it's actually open to the public and the public's available to use it, not when the clerk's available to receive the public. So, yes, Lauren.
Yeah, there's been other counties though that have been sued. I know of Kalkaska County that had a big lawsuit from the judges up there. I'm sure there's been other clerks or sheriffs that have sued the county. So if this could save us some money, I mean, if we can do a study and I don't know if we're going to resolve it or keep it internal if possible, it's going to save us a lot of money. So I'm for it.
And I think that that's really the purpose of this, is to make a decision as to whether or not an agreement can be reached, and if everybody is on the same page in terms of an understanding of what's needed and what's being required.
And the other thing we should make sure is that any amount of technology that we can utilize in that office gets utilized or brought forth that could be utilized in addition to manpower, because I think that's the trend that this board is pushing to get done, so. Yes.
I would still point out there still are state laws that require paper copies, so
Right.
you still got to deal with what the law says. I mean, until they get changed at least.
And Amber and I discussed that a little bit, so. Yes, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's also been some changes in the gun boards and stuff on how much, I think that passed and everything, and I don't know when that takes over, so you're going to, I don't know if that lightens the load down there or increases it, but I mean, it's something that this person, the company that's doing this study needs to check into, maybe what's going to happen in the future.
All right, I believe it's October.
Yeah, October, the end of the year, but
Yeah.
they answer that question, it lightens a little.
Lightens.
She doesn't have to come to the meetings, she doesn't have to keep minutes. And we've had gun permits computerized for a few years.
Right.
They're all plastic now.
Yes. I do want to emphasize as well that the focus of this study is not necessarily just on the general work process in the clerk's office, but it has to be focused on what the statutorily required duties that have to be provided by that office are. So there's going to be a question of prioritization. Those duties that are required by statute, he has to make a determination, do you have enough people to do those things first? And if there are other additional duties that that office would like to do but aren't necessarily statutorily required, that's not going to be considered in the need analysis.
Yes,
So
Commissioner.
if she marries folks, then that's not statutory. And would that study come back and saying, you know what, whatever, it's just going to focus on the statutory?
It is.
Some other part of what she's doing, whether it's statutory or not, what is it going to give an opinion on that you don't need to do this, or this?
Well, I think what you're going to see is what is the best process to follow and a delineation of this is how much time it takes and how much staff power it's going to take to do these statutorily required duties that she's mandated to provide at a minimally serviceable level, which is what the law requires. And it will most likely also go over the other services that she does provide to give you some type of view in terms of how much extra time that's taking and whether or not you think there's a value, or you can do a benefit analysis at that point in time.
I know, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer, she used to do passports. And she hasn't had the staff to do passports, so she has quit doing passports, but it wasn't mandated that she do passports. So
Correct.
that's one of the services that was given up when our staff went down, so. Anybody else? So quiet over there. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I don't believe we have anything under miscellaneous or announcements. Kim,
Well, if I could, whether it's under miscellaneous, by the time people see this, it'll be over with. If we can at least share with everybody here, and they can share it with their friends and families. We were out to the beach today. Rudy's been out there for several days. The beach looks fabulous. Today, basically Electric Light Power, they give us a crew of guys and they punch holes. They got an auger about 4 foot. And they punch holes in the sand, and the guys from the IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, they come out, drop the poles, set up the nets and the cord liners, because these guys, if it wasn't for the volunteers that we had, we would never be able to do this. The beach looks great. I got some pictures. Maybe I can email them to somebody and we can get it online or something. But hopefully the conditions continue. I don't understand all the prevailing winds, but right now it looks beautiful. And I seen going in about 11 o'clock this morning, and the spray park was filled. And it's beautiful to see families, whether they're at the campground or local people, take their kids out there and enjoy that. And we saw something today. There were more people on the beach, families on the beach, and it was magnificent. Just seeing people out there, and the courts are up, and that's what it's all about, is to provide recreation and resource, or low cost recreation for families to enjoy. So it's Saturday is the day. Baymed called, or McLaren called today, and they're going to come out and provide first aid, and water and sunscreen and hand sanitizer and all those good things. And we got somebody else coming out too.
Yes, from foster care. An individual that works with setting up foster parents is coming out to hand out information, let people know that there's children out there that still need a place to go. So she'll be there. And then I should also mention that Saturday at 6:30 we have a stage that was built, and it's going to have a dedication at 6:30. And Commissioner Lutz and his crew was involved with it a week ago, and it really turned out nice. Again, all volunteers. So
we'll see everybody there Saturday.
yep. So I'll move to adjourn.
Support?
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? They're gone. They didn't answer.